Whoosh! Hi, it's me, a gamer. I used to play Pokemon on my channel, but I failed.
Oh my god, a crit. Draco Meteor.
So now I realized I needed help.
Hey, I heard you were in need of some Pokemon assistance. Want to do a Soul Link?
Sure, why not? And so me and Renary embarked on our very first Soul Link together, with a twist. I can only use Rattata.
And I can only use Pidgey.
Here are the rules. Everything has to be fused with Pokemon from the Rattata and Pidgey evolution line. If a Pokemon faints, it's dead. The linked Pokemon with your Soul Link partner will also die. Every Mon must be named after food, and the game is played on set mode. No looking at outside resources except to find Pidgeys and Rattatas. We also have dupe scores. If one Mon is caught, the other partner can't use the same Pokemon or evolutionary line, and thus must re-encounter, unless it's a static or gift Mon. Chapter 1. Brock.
We picked our starters and were immediately challenged by the man, the myth, the legend, Gordon Ramsay himself, who just so happened to snatch the remaining 2 Pokemon. We didn't know that was legal, or we would have done it first.
Afterwards, we finally began our Ratlocks and Birdlocks respectively, and fused our starters.
Yes.
Ooh.
Here we go.
Hey, it's so cute, Ratmander.
Oh my
wait.
gosh!
Oh
It's a
my
baby.
god, yours is a monstrosity.
What do you
The
mean it's a
lizard
baby?
Mouse.
Then Gordon had another bone to pick with us.
Brock was a lot harder than we anticipated. No one told us he was going to have a rock bird and a mole snake. Oh no! Not birds!
Ooh.
Not to mention limiting us to 2 Mons just like him. It was not our best moment.
It's okay.
Oh
I'm switching.
gosh.
I didn't give an oranberry to butter. What am I doing? Oh god.
no!
I'm switching. Please miss.
It has-
Please miss.
It has a nose. No, wait.
Why are you hitting every button? Oh my god. Okay, now miss.
Come on.
We'll do it like rock polish.
We died again and again.
I see. Oh no! I think I wipe here.
Until finally we beat him, but not without sacrifices and a lot of stress.
Oh, okay.
What happened? I
It
can't.
used bind.
I can't.
It used bind. Okay, as long as he doesn't crit, I win. Okay, come on, please.
I can't see what's happening.
I won!
One. Oh my god. Yes. We can actually go more than 1/8 into the game.
Oh my gosh, we progressed.
Then we were free to be immediately inside a cave with Nightmare Zubat fusions.
But they're so cute, though.
Then we ran into some trouble. Actually, make it double. Then we made it to Cerulean City, where I rushed straight into the rival fight. We definitely weren't 100% prepared, and I almost got us wiped. But my actions have no consequences, so we were fine. Then it was on to Misty, whom I one-shot both her Mons and Croissant, and Renary didn't really have any trouble either.
This is fine, okay.
Yay. Alright, I'm gonna watch Renary's go now.
You're already done?
I one-shot both of them, yeah.
Alright, let's go!
Croissant was our Magikarp fusion, and he was powerful, unstoppable, and funny to look at, and dead.
I'm a little...
Shit.
Oh, what?
I killed him because I wasn't paying attention. Yeah.
Oh no! After Misty, we traveled to Vermilion City and boarded the SS Anne. We battled a bunch of trainers, grabbed a fossil,
No, because Which fossil? Oh my god, we get another fossil.
and failed as Uber Eats drivers. Huh?
What did you get?
Wait, I just got some random quest. I have crabby legs and now I'm taking them to the restaurant, maybe?
Oh, this might be fun.
Where am I taking them?
You failed the cook. Now you'll never be a Michelin star chef.
I know. I'm so disappointed.
It's still mad to me that you don't cook. I can't quite get over that.
I also ran into 3 trainers, and then I had to do a single battle, immediately followed by a double battle.
Oh, that one's a double battle?
You
I didn't
warn
fight it.
me. Now I have to
I
fight
didn't fight it as a double battle.
And Far, our Diglett, died, and then we immediately panicked and had to delay stream for a week due to the sheer amount of grinding and team building we had to do.
We racked our brains trying to find the best solution for the gym, and eventually found out that some guy in a hotel would give us a whooper in exchange for fishing up an old boot. A couple levels later, we swept the gym with our over-leveled whoopee fusions.
Chapter 4: A Growing Threat. After that, we picked up a Honedge and
We got Eevee! And I buy an illegal legendary off the black market.
then we got in the sewers and beat up Team Rocket again. But I lost Rabbit to Giovanni's Rock Press Abomination because I wasn't paying attention, making the upcoming Koga fight way harder. Then just a simple gym fight of Erica got us halfway through the Soul Link. Chapter 5: Trailblazing.
We made our way to Lavender Tower, immediately running into some interesting creatures.
Then we made our way downtown to the Safari Zone, catching a big rat and bird along the way. Then we went on a cool little safari adventure in the Safari Zone, with the rules so we can catch all the Pokemon we want, but could only keep one.
We ended up choosing a Yamask Vibrava pairing called Blood Sausage, which was immediately put in the grinder on Cycling Road. It was quite the brush with death, almost a run under. Breasted pastrami, blood sausage, mud pie, and meatball.
We easily breezed past Koga with ease. Then I lost Pimento in the fighting dojo, because I was trying to abuse the new Mankey Paw item that always crits, but gives you a 50% chance to hit. I thought I could cheese it with Aerial Ace, but no.
Then, Team Rocket broke in and started causing a ruckus. We made our way through Silphco, eventually making it to the boss's room, but there was a rival fight in the way. Hold up.
I might just fight this train.
It's a rival fight! Oh, okay. Okay, it's a rival fight first. Here we go.
So while Renee was breezing through Silphco, I was struggling with the rival and lost Cucumber and Bone Broth. And then proceeded to chicken out of fighting Giovanni that stream, but in the next stream, I bravely fought Giovanni and I lost Biscuit. Then we both gained our new Johto stars named Potato.
Once we had some time to prepare, we made our way to Sabrina's gym, where we experienced not one, not two, but 3 losses. Meringue, Hylian Shrooms, and Paella. Your noble sacrifices will not be in vain.
After recovering from the Sabrina fight, me and Renee decided to run away from our problems in Kanto and head for Johto for a radio quiz and a Jirachi. Oh my god! I actually got later off stream because there's a bunch of scary fighting type Pokemon, but we didn't talk about that. Shh.
Things were fine on the way to Cinnabar, though Baguette and Sushi got smacked on the way there.
I need to switch. Oh, he's probably gonna belly drum. I'm so dumb. I knew prior.
It's the belly drum man.
I mean, I do have.
Wait, what happened?
It Wake Up Slap, which is a fighting type move, I'm pretty sure, and just murdered Baguette in one shot.
No, not Baguette.
Oh god. Oh, that's so bad. Oh, he was gonna be so good for the gym.
No.
Okay, it's so quick. Sushi. I need Sucker Punch strats. Oh, it's at half health. Sushi can Sucker Punch. If it uses electric type moves, Sushi is. It won't have the boost, but Sushi will probably die. But I need to use Sucker Punch. Kill? Didn't kill? No. There's Sushi gone. I don't have anything that can outspeed this.
That's not good.
Flan can use Sucker Punch. Alright, Flan can hit Sucker Punch and kill. Okay.
But we made it.
We once again got scared and grinded way too high, so we steamrolled Blaine and made our way to Mount Ember. Because Team Rocket was up to no good, and by no good, I mean creating a triple legendary fusion which killed half our team. What is that?
お前はもう死んでいる。何？大あたくびでギゼブ。
Then it was time to prepare for the rematch with Giovanni and the last badge before the Elite Four. It was finally time for me to end Giovanni.
Despite losing 2 of our Mons, we still came out of the fight with a great team. After that, we breezed past the next rival fight and ran through Victory Road. Argente, but we don't use it, so it ended up not being very important.
This was it, the Elite Four. Never have I ever made it so far in a Nuzlocke before.
I had lost my previous Nuzlocke to Agatha, so I was feeling a little nervous.
To overcome that, which we had not yet obtained, we had to build the most elite team we could think of. Toast, Sandwich, Fugu, Burger, Oreo, and Gummy.
First up was Lorelei, who I was pretty nervous about. Birds are weak to ice after all. I led with Burger, and after hitting an extremely flimsy fire punch, Lorelei used a full restore? So the next turn, I nearly nuked her Magong with a Thunder Punch. Unfortunately, she healed again the next turn, and while I hit her with another Thunder Punch, I was burned by Magong's Flame Body. I healed Burger on my next turn and was able to KO another Mon with it before needing to switch. A couple turns later, we had beaten Lorelei with only one death. Rest in pieces, Oreo.
Now let's talk about Bruno. Many times before have my pride been shattered by a fighting type in this run, but now it was time to punch back. Right out the gate, Sandwich served up a nice uppercut club with some fries to start off the bout. Then Bruno's Steel Champ hit Fugu hard with a submission counter, forcing a few changes, but mostly full Storm spam, into Sandwich's second, third, fourth, and fifth final KO to knock out Bruno.
Third was Agatha, my personal ex-run killer. I made a bit of an oopsie trying to use a ghost move on her Snorgar, which obviously didn't do anything, but managed to still beat it in the end. Her Wobgar also ended up cursing itself to death, which was convenient for me. We made it through Agatha deathless.
Lance was the final member of the Elite Four, and he hit hard, nearly killing Toast and Fugu with outrages early on. Then he had to wait for Confusion Luck to start dealing damage to his Togenite. Then it was Gummy's turn to annihilate Lance with counter twice. However, fate was cruel, as Lance's final Mon, Typhon Air, had Dragon Dance, and then Crit Fire Blast killed Gummy. This was bad and I was low on healing items. I was confident I had nothing that could outspeed Typhon Air. I had one choice. I had to switch to Burger and pray the Quick Claw popped. After all our trials and tribulations, Mirineo made it all the way to the champion on our first ever Soul Link.
Woo! Friendship!
This was it, the final battle between us and Gordon Ramsay. It started off really badly as I didn't utilize my Guts ability on Burger, so my Wild Charge didn't KO Gordon's first one, and after incorrectly predicting if I would outspeed, Burger fell, leaving us with half a team to finish Gordon.
On my end, Nido Giat was no issue, but Blastoise was a different story. He left Burger in the red with the combination of Fire Spin and Hydro Pump. A rain-boosted Hydro Pump left Burger on a sliver of health, but luckily I was able to KO the Blastoise with another Thunder Punch. In came Tawtor with Intimidate, forcing me to switch.
Fugu avenged Burger, and after a short war of attrition with Charsaw, Gordon made a really annoying Tartor Intimidate switch, which when I had to switch back out to Sandwich, who slowly grinded Tartor down after 2 restores. As I healed, I realized something. I was running low on healing items. It was the last fight, but there was still tons of fight left to be fought against Gordon.
I switched Fugu into Tawtor and nearly got blasted into next week with the Zen Headbutt, but I was fortunate and he missed. I decided to risk using close combat to kill, which I didn't, and Fugu was left with very low HP. Luckily, another close combat took out the Tawtor, but now I was in trouble.
The weight of the battle began hanging over us. Sandwich held out and dispatched Tartor and the returning Charsaw, but a bad right mortar forced me to put Fugu in Drill Run's way. But he held. But all good things must come to an end. Low on healing items, I knew I had to sack Fugu to get off any damage on Gordon's terrifying Electrodose. I was down to my last full restore and took hit after hit, and Sandwich managed to defeat this electrifying entity with about half its HP left. This was the final bout. I started off with a huge misplay using Last Resort after I'd switched back in. Last Resort is a move that requires you to have used all other moves your Pokemon has at least once. I'd forgotten this crucial detail in the moment, and Sandwich was defeated. Everything was riding on Toast, finishing off Gordon's final Mon, Starkazam. With one last guts-boosted crunch, I prayed. My team had just barely surpassed Gordon's final battle, but this was no solo venture. I had not come alone, and as my trials had ended, I knew the run was not yet done.
Electrodose. Of all Mons, it had to be an electric type. I used Fugu's last turn to see if Earthquake would KO, but alas, Fugu was taken out with a waterfall after leaving Electrodose in the yellow. Sandwich came in after some switching and brought it down to red, but another full restore from Gordon and it was over. None of my mons could defeat him now.
And so came to an end our first ever Soul Link, spanning 6 months and 18 streams and countless hours grinding and team building. It was over.
But what a ride it was! Despite all of the difficulties we faced, especially in the beginning, we made it all the way to the champion in just 4 attempts. And just because this run failed doesn't mean this was the end.